Good afternoon and welcome to our World Hour of Power show here with Lady Pauline and my co-host, Mr. Glenn Greenwich, the Honorable Mayor of Sutton Boulevard. Hi, Glenn. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great, Lady Pauline. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm terrific. I love the rain.
You do?
I
Okay. All
do.
right. All right. I'm a sunshine boy.
Oh,
But
okay.
anyway, we have some outstanding guests today that I want to introduce. Robert Glump, who is a syndicated columnist. He is an excellent writer, reporter. If he hasn't written you up, you haven't been written up.
Actually, Glenn, thanks so much. I've written one column on Glenn. I got as good reviews on that as I've ever received. So it's my honor to be here. Also with Pauline, I've written columns on people she's recommended. They've gone well. So it's really a great honor for me to be here, see my old friends. Today we have as our guest Inderjeet Singh, who's a really extraordinary person, works some great organization, and has an excellent, interesting background. And again, I'm so happy that you gave me the privilege of being here today and having Indy Singh here as well. Indy, can you tell us something about yourself and about your organization and about your background?
Thank you, Robert. First of all, I just want to say thank you to Pauline and Glenn for giving me this great opportunity to be on your wonderful show. I'm the Community Relations Officer for United Sikhs in New York City. And yes.
Well, we're proud to have you. But let's first start out. I want to distinguish some things because give us a little background about the Sikhism and the organization. When did Sikhism actually start? I know it's from India.
Yes.
So give us a little history about that because I know that some people may have the impression that it's Hindu, but it's so much not Hindu. So let's distinguish that for our listeners.
Yes, so Sikhism was founded in the late 15th century by Guru Nanak Dev Ji in northwestern India, which is today the modern day state of Punjab. It's a monotheistic religion with approximately 25 million followers worldwide. It stresses on the concept of one God. And some of the core values of Sikhism are selfless service to the community, it's honest living, it's sharing, and Sikhs do not believe in like conversions. We believe that that everyone on this planet is trying to get to God, but it's just taking like a different path to get there. And our organization, this wonderful organization that I started working for approximately a year ago, called United Sikhs, which is an international organization affiliated with the UN, works to not only better spread the message of Sikhism and the Sikh values in a way where we are not only helping the local Sikh community, but where we are also helping the greater community at large.
So I know we talked off camera. Where are some of the chapters of your organization?
Yes, so we have chapters in the United States, in Canada, in Europe, such as in England, in France. We have chapters in Australia, in India, Pakistan, in Kenya, Africa. So it's like a global international organization.
And what does the organization do? How does it collect with the different chapters globally?
Yes.
So what do they do together, and what do they do separate?
Yes, so basically so every chapter, like our chapter in the United States, particularly the one I work for, which is based out in New York City, we see like how we could work with the local communities and communities that have historically been underserved and or underrepresented, and how we could, with the resources that we have, how we could better assist them. So I would say the same thing with the chapters in other countries. They see like, the resources they have, how they could go about better serving the community that they're based in. So how they could like better serve, like whether it's the community that's, slightly on the lower end of the socioeconomic spectrum, or a community that has historically been marginalized, how we could work with those communities to better assist them in, uplifting them and like creating like like a fairer world where, you know, they also feel like they have the access to resources that they historically didn't have.
So tell me, locally, what are some of the things that you guys are doing here in Richmond Hill?
So no, so we're based. Even though we have an office in Richmond Hill, we cater to all 5 boroughs.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
to all 5 boroughs. So I'm going to talk about how we have assisted since this pandemic has started.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, so
okay.
One of the things that we did was we reached out to in communities where there were very high positivity rates. It could be South Bronx, it could be Port Richmond in Staten Island, it could be Richmond Hill in Queens, Corona, Elmhurst, and we reached out to those communities and we worked with the local organizations there, and we said like, oh, this community here, they have very high positivity rates. One of the ways we could assist them is by, bringing mobile COVID testing there. We got in touch with the NYC Test and Trace Corps, and then we started having these mobile outdoor events where we work with the Test and Trace Corps, where we got our staff trained to conduct these mobile testing. So a lot of times, especially when the pandemic started, the Test and Trace Corps was very understaffed. So we had our staff trained to give these tests, and then our staff would, go out into these communities and conduct the tests themselves.
Yeah, and you guys have also done some work with food distribution as well.
So we work with food pantries. So we work with those food pantries, in terms of like, setting up testing there. And, also we have this partnership with New York City regarding this program called NYC Care.
Okay.
So NYC Care is this program where people could qualify for basically healthcare regardless of their immigration status and regardless of their ability to pay for healthcare. So originally when the pandemic started, a lot of people, were afraid of going to the hospitals because they thought that, because of their immigration status, they wouldn't go to the hospital, or because they aren't able to afford regular health care, so they wouldn't go to the hospital because they felt that if we went to the hospital, we would be charged a certain amount of money that we cannot afford. So what we did, we got in a partnership with New York City, and there's this program that I want to commend New York City for running. It's called NYC Care, where we go out into these communities and we try to help spread the word regarding NYC Care, and then we also help those people enroll into NYC Care.
Okay.
Yes. We have on our staff, we have people who are fluent in Spanish, in Mandarin, in Punjabi, in Hindi, in French Creole. We have a multitude of language speakers on our staff. So when we go out in a particular community, it's easier for them to communicate with the local community.
Indu, how long does it take for a person to get connected to NYC Care?
So NYC Care, their representatives are basically 24/7. But a lot of times, when people who are not know how the system works, a lot of times, they get confused and then they don't really fully go through with their application. So what we do is, we help them get connected to a representative, help set them up with the appointment with financial counselors, and from there we make sure that they get, if they qualify, they get their NYC Care card, and then we follow up with them regarding that if they need any more help and if their application was able to get processed.
Does this also include medications?
Yes.
Prescriptions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Okay.
That's excellent.
Okay.
Go ahead, Robert.
Okay. Inderjeet, I want to discuss you coming on with Glenn and Pauline. We're talking about your passion. Now, I also found out that he speaks 4 languages. 4 languages. Could you tell me a little bit about your background, growing up, and so forth, and your language background, and how that informed you getting involved and contributed to your passion for the community?
So I was
You graduated from college.
Yes.
How long you've been in America and so forth.
Yes. So I was born in India. I came to this country with my family approximately 20 years ago. I have myself, my 2 younger brothers, my grandma, grandpa, my mom and dad, And, I'm a native Queens guy. I grew up in Queens. I graduated from Queens College. And, I've been working with this wonderful organization for approximately the past 1 year.
But tell me about your family. I don't want to get too personal. Like, what drove you? Your parents, I know, were not born here. What was their circumstance in India, their religious circumstance, and so forth? And how does that inform your own passion?
Yes. So my parents, they came from, in India, we came from a lower middle class family, I would say. Now, a lower middle class family in India is a lot different from a lower middle class family in America. It's like, it's different. They don't have access to the resources that a lot of families in America have access to. So, they came to this wonderful country, and seeing them like work hard and succeed, just helped me helped motivate me in a way that, we have all these resources and access to resources here, and, being able to work for this organization, we could spread those resources, give it to the people who might not have the same access to them.
And how does your language background, how does that, in your day-to-day activities, how does your language background, how does even your training in college, and I went to Queens College, and your family background, how does that inform the way you work during the day? In other words, you get a phone call, it could be in this dialect, that dialect. How does that impact?
I mean, I could speak Punjabi and Hindi, so, a lot of times people who speak those languages and are not fluent in English, having access to those languages allows me to better communicate with them. And even if they're not like a Punjabi or Hindi speaker, like if they speak like Mandarin, we have a Mandarin speaker on our staff. If they speak Spanish, we have Spanish speakers on our staff. And, it's just more convenient for us to get the information we need to get to them, and for us to like share those and to share that information with them.
What would you say is the breakdown of, let's say, people who are Sikhs, Hindus, African Americans, Latinos, Muslims, and so forth?
So a majority of the work we do is, it's done with like in a very diverse diverse neighborhoods. We go to Corona, that's predominantly a Hispanic neighborhood. You go to Richmond Hill, that's predominantly Indo-Caribbean and a Punjabi community. And then you go to you go to Brooklyn, or you go to South Bronx, it's predominantly African American. So it's like we work with, it's like very diverse sets of organizations and people we work with.
Okay, just one more question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of your leave, when you leave after dealing with people with different backgrounds, is there any takeaway you have in terms of the human condition, anything you've learned, any lessons from life that you say could come out of this?
I mean, I always knew this, but now I just have such a greater understanding of how similar people actually are. Like, and at the end of the day, people in general want the same things for their family. Like, parents want best medical, best healthcare facilities for their children. Mothers want best stuff they can provide for their children. Just in general, how similar people are and how similar people's concerns are. And they just want to be they just want to make sure that they're able to provide the best life they can provide for their family.
Okay.
Well, Inderjeet Singh, I have a question for you. I know that turbans kind of distinguish Sikhs.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how that came about, because let's go all the way back to India and talk about how that was established back in India.
Yes, so around that time when Sikhism first developed, the majority of India's population is Hindu, and the people at that time who were ruling the country were Mughals, who were Sunni Muslims. And at that time, the only people who could actually wear turbans or anything on their head, it was looked as a sign of nobility. So either you had to be a high caste Hindu, like a Brahmin, to wear it, or you had to be part of the ruling nobility. So when Sikhism came along, the concept of Sikhism is equality amongst all people. everyone is this, like everyone is the same human being. Like everyone is the same. There's like no like discrimination based on, oh, you were born in this caste or I was born in this caste. So the concept of Sikhism originally was regarding the turban was it's like a crown where everyone is like a king. Everyone is high nobility. You get it? Like there's no like, oh, you're born in a low caste or high caste. You're all the same. And that's what separates Sikhism from, you know, at that time from other religions, was that just based like how much emphasis it placed on equality amongst all people.
Okay, we have to take a commercial break. We'll be right back with this conversation.
We'll be right back. But first, are you a small business owner looking for solutions? TMI and Partners is a business solution company offering operational, branding, and financial solution. For only $9.99 a month, your company will be assigned a personal business advisor. That's right, only $9.99 per month, no contract, and you're on your way. Call TMI at 347-234-5304. That's 347-234-5304. Or visit their website at tmium.com.
I was thinking about breaking into the
Tomorrow, the world will know your business. Is that it, guys?
And then,
hello?
Then we'll come back with
they do good?
Some other things as well.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, that's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Hi, this is attorney Stephen G. James. We've been practicing law at this law firm for over 30 years. I'm a former assistant prosecutor in Kings County and currently a defense attorney to serve you better. We work harder to serve you better. So just call us for the lawyers you can trust. 646-905-9000. 646-905-7001. We're located on Sutphin Boulevard, right near Hillside here in Jamaica, Queens, New York. For over 30 years serving the community. The law firm of Stephen G. James. Thank you.
Well, we're back here with Our World, Our World Power. Let's continue this interesting conversation that we've been having.
So, how long has United Sikhs actually, when was it established?
So this was established by a group of Sikh Americans in 1999.
1999, okay.
In New York.
In New York. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, Richmond Hill has the largest Sikh population outside of India. Is that correct?
Don't quote me on that. It might be in the United States.
Okay.
It might also be in Southall, London.
Oh, London.
Yeah. So
okay.
It's like I'm not sure which. It might be in Southall. It might be in Richmond Hill.
Okay, so we're in the top 3 or 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so and tell me a little bit more about the organization. So how many people are in the organization, and where are they located? Because you have an office in Manhattan,
yes,
and you also have an office in Richmond Hill.
So United Sikhs was basically formed in 1999 by a group of Sikh Americans who not only wanted to serve the local Sikh community, but also wanted to serve the greater New York City community, especially those people who have historically been underserved.
Okay.
And now, today, in 2021, it's grown to this international organization that is affiliated with the UN, that has chapters in India and, you know, all over, like France and Australia. And it's a humanitarian organization.
Okay.
And, you know, like, we are there if there's like during disaster relief when like the floods happened in Kerala, India.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Kerala is a state in India. United Sikhs was there to provide aid. When the floods happened in Louisiana a couple of years ago, United Sikhs was there to, you know, provide aid. And even in this ongoing pandemic in India, you know, United Sikhs is there on the ground, you know, providing. Currently in India, there's a big shortage of oxygen tanks.
Right.
So
yes.
We ran a fundraiser And now we have medical staff on the ground, nurses, doctors who are helping people, running ambulance services, and all this is being done regardless of what their religion is or what their background is. Yes.
And how are things coming now in India? What is the status?
Well, they're experiencing a severe second wave. They're currently the global epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, so I'm sure as time goes, things will get better, but currently, they're going through a very severe second wave.
Now, what are the things that your organization is looking to do next? You've been very helpful in the pandemic. You've been doing a lot of things with food and vaccines and mobile
Yes.
testing sites and so forth. What do you see as some of the future things that your organization wants to do?
Well, yes, so that's a great question. So one of the things that we place an emphasis on is education.
Okay.
So going forward, we want to, especially serve communities where, and put a big emphasis on education in terms of preparing kids for the SAT exams, preparing kids for, applying to college, preparing kids for their Regents examination. Now, I'm talking about this in America. Globally, like every chapter sees where they could go forward, how better they could serve their own community. But I'm talking about here in America, here in New York, where we want to better serve communities and, place a very big emphasis on education. Because going forward, if people, the more emphasis we as society place on education, the better it is we could make our society going forward.
Okay, and as far as women working with the organization, are women very much involved?
Yes. One of my associate directors, she's a woman. Her name is Nyc Care, and she's she's one of the most intellectual people I've come across, and one that actually keeps our team going here in New York. And so in our organization, there's men, women, it's all equal, and it's just it's like a very diverse organization.
So who are some of the executive director? There must be an executive director.
Yes. So the executive director, the founder of the organization, is Mr. Hardyal Singh.
Okay.
He's one of the founders of the organization, and he's very well known amongst the Sikh community all over the country, and he spearheaded this organization from when it first began, just based out in New York, to how it's expanded all over the globe. And then once again, we have Miss Nyc Care, who's who spearheads the New York team, but who also makes sure that other parts, like where our chapters are located in America, our resources and our aids could reach those areas.
Okay, I realize that you're very much a humanitarian. When growing up, who inspired you? Who were some of the people that in your life that inspired you to mold you into the man that you are today?
Well, obviously, people. Obviously, my parents. Just coming from their background where they came, they didn't have. I would say they didn't have the access to the resources that me growing up in America has access to those resources. And also, I get a lot of inspiration from my religion, which is talks about selfless service, and one of the core values of Sikhism is being a productive member of society and giving back to the community that you live in. So that's where I get a lot of my inspiration from to work, and it's such a big part of United Sikhs that I'm grateful that I get to work for such a amazing and wonderful organization.
I know we was talking about giving back, and that the Sikhs, if a lot of people do not realize that if they need a help, food,
Yes.
or a shelter, they can come to your organization and receive it.
Yes, so they could not only could they contact our organization, but also if any Sikh temples anywhere around the world, they provide free food, hot vegetarian free food 24/7 and shelter. But most people don't know that. But
Why is that not noticed? Why don't people talk about it? It's the first time I'm hearing.
Yes. So once again, the people just don't. I mean, that's why one of the core values of our organization is people get to know more about Sikhism and what Sikhs do. One of the world's largest soup kitchens is in India, is at the Golden Temple, where every day 100,000 people are fed, and a majority of those people are not Sikhs. But once again, as this is the saying in Sikhism, recognize the human race as one, and that's one of our slogans too. So we really try to follow that slogan of recognizing the human race as one.
Okay. You know why I asked you that question? Because in America, you see a lot of commercials, especially about India and Africa, that people do not have food to eat, and they're so devastated. And with all these organizations, I'm wondering why there's still these issues that we still have in today's lifestyle.
Well, I personally believe one of the biggest reasons is just, people, there are problems such as people are not getting the resources, but also there's a lack of, there is also a lack of awareness, because if you did go to a Sikh temple, you can get food there. It doesn't matter if you go 8 a.m. in the morning or you go 8 p.m. at night. You can get food there.
See, that's the point. Is the fact of the awareness that I find that that is lacking all around the world.
Yes.
People are not informed,
Yes.
and that lack of information leads to devastation, as far as not knowing where to go to get help or get certain types of help, medical help, prescriptions that that you can get for free and stuff like that, vaccinations, all of these things. It just seems that even though this world is very large, we're very well established with the internet and everything, still people do not know certain things or do not know where to get help. What is something that you would like to do to implement so it can be better as a humanitarian?
Yes. So once again, one of our future aspirations is to better help the community that we live in with education. So I believe, me personally, I believe if we helped people more with education, we could that increases awareness. If you get people to, if you get the word, if you're able to help people with education, you're able to give them more knowledge in terms of knowing, the amount of resources that are available to them, and just basically getting the word out. We go to community outreach events, we give out flyers, we talk to people and try to understand what they need and where they're lacking in information, and we try to give them that information to the best that we can.
So as a community relations person,
Yes.
how do you see your specific role in the organization?
So I basically serve as a community liaison.
Okay.
Yes. So my goal is try to find out where are the communities in New York City where, with the resources United Sikhs have, where we could go in there and provide services to them, in terms of, it could be mobile COVID testing. Recently we did a vaccination drive in Richmond Hill where within 3 weeks we vaccinated more than 600 people.
Wow.
In just 3 weeks. This week we had 2 vaccine drives going, one in Corona and one in South Bronx, where once again we got involved with the local organizations there, and we conducted a vaccine drive where people were able to just walk in and get vaccinated.
Speaking about the vaccination, I'm kind of confused. From what I understood from the beginning, that the vaccinations were supposed to be free
Yes.
for everybody.
Yes.
But when people go into like Walgreens or certain places, they're still asking you for your medical card. Do you have insurance? So I'm trying to figure out why is it important that you have medical insurance to show, Walgreens or any of these other places if it's free.
Yeah, so as far as I know, like I'm not like an expert on the rules that the city has or the state might have, but as far as we know, wherever vaccine drive we have conducted, the vaccines were free, and they did ask for the people's health insurance. But if you don't have health insurance, we have majority of the people who got vaccinated did not have health insurance, and that is okay. You could just tell them that.
So what is the purpose of even asking?
I'm not sure.
That's the question.
That's like a city and a state policy. I'm not sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna take a break. We're talking with Inderjeet Singh from the United Sikh organization, and we'll be right back on the station break.
I don't know.
Worried your friend's struggling but don't know how to reach out?
You could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You could write him a text or knit him a sweater. If you can't be together, you could write him a letter. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You can ask on your couch while you binge watch. However you do it, you gotta ask a friend. And if they don't share, you can ask again. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing.
After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Okay.
Hey, we're back right now, and you're listening to Our World, Our Power. Don't forget to check us out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and our Roku channel, Our World. Please continue this interesting conversation.
Okay.
Go ahead, Robert.
Well, first, maybe to break a little bit off the outline, the question you asked Pauline before was outstanding, and I wish I could answer it about with all the good things going on in the world, how come more people don't know about it?
Yeah,
that's the $50 million question.
Yes.
So if I'm ever on the show again as a guest, please ask me a question. 'Cause that one is really profound. And with the other guests you have on, Indy, you gave a great answer to that. But I think that's such an important question. There's so many good things going on in the world.
There is.
And that's why I think your show is so important, by the way.
Oh, thank
There's
you.
so many good things going on in the world that, Glenn, stuff you're doing through your organization.
Yes.
I know I'm a little bit off topic, but that really got me thinking. That's the $1 million question. So many good things, different organizations, Muslim, Jewish,
Yes.
Christian, Sikh, Hindu, so many great things they're doing, and yet people focus on like hatred.
Yeah.
So, Pauline, that was great. That was great. India, I'm aware of the fact that now you have the farmers' protest going on in India. Tell me a little bit about it, and to the degree that your organization is involved either in a de facto or de jure way. Maybe describe what's going on with that, because that's huge.
Yes, so, I mean, as we know, people anywhere around the world have the right to protest. and the farmers in India are currently protesting. And what United Sikhs is doing, because these farmers are out on the road, so what United Sikhs is doing, because this protest is going on in the middle of a pandemic, so we're providing medical aid to them in terms of like in terms just like medical aid in terms of like nurses and medical staff on the ground, just making, because people do tend to get sick and stuff. So we're trying to make them provide them with as much aid as possible. Also in terms of like sanitation and stuff. So
But a lot of the viewers here, myself included, till recently didn't know about the farmers' protests. Could you explain that a little bit to the people in the audience?
Yeah, so now United Sikhs is a non-governmental organization.
Right.
We don't have anything to do with any government's policies. But just for the people who don't know, there's the farmers in India are protesting about these policies that they feel is against their livelihood regarding these farm laws that were just passed by the government there. Yeah.
Because that's been very huge. It hasn't been covered as much as you might expect. In America, I might write a future column about it, but that's very big, and I know I was questioning him in terms of what his organization did. Also, this is not just about your organization, but about Sikhs in general. Who are some of the Sikhs that people might not know that they're Sikhs, but are world known throughout America or throughout the world that you think are important?
Well, currently, I don't know if he's still at that position, but the Canadian Minister of Defense, Mr. Harjit Sajjan, is a Sikh, and we have in the United States we have Mayor Ravi Bhalla, the mayor of Hoboken, New Jersey,
Right.
The Attorney General of New Jersey, Mr. Gurbeer Garewal. So there's some in America. There's there's not, or I would say in America and Canada. Obviously you have Jagmeet Dhaliwal, who just recently ran for Prime Minister of Canada. But there, I believe, as the West, in this part of the world, people know more about Sikhs and Sikhism. It's just gonna, more Sikhs are gonna come to the forefront and become more part of the mainstream culture and mainstream society, and we're gonna see more Sikhs coming forward.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
Last question is, in the course of your job, you've met, I know, a lot of people that people might have heard about, non-Sikhs. But who do you meet in the course of a day, course of a week, course of a month? Will you meet in the future who the audience might know of, and what do you think they've done to help your community and general communities?
Yeah, so I usually when I work, I've in the process of my work, I've come across such wonderful people, such as church ministers and pastors and local directors of food pantries and just all these people who are doing so much to help their local community. And also, I've came across a few council members, and it's just, I'm so grateful that with this role that I'm in, with this wonderful organization, I'm able to meet such a diverse group of people who I've known now are there are people out there doing so much to better help their community.
You've named, let's say, you said councilman, one councilman in particular, or two?
Yeah, recently I met Councilman Francisco Moya. Came across as a very nice person, and he's very popular in that community. So it was a pleasure meeting him.
Well, I'm going to go off topic a little bit, but when I listen to Sikhism, it sounds a lot like Sufi, like Sufism. Is there any relationship, or is it similar? Or?
I mean, so you could say in Sikhism, there's a big emphasis on that Sikhs don't try to convert other people.
Okay.
Because we believe that everyone is trying to get to the same place, same destination. But we're just taking a different path. And it's there's a big emphasis on the personal relationship that an individual has with God, and not just not just emphasis on the clergy or stuff like that. So you could, maybe that's one similarity you could make with the whole Sufi movement and Sikhism.
Okay, great.
Now, one thing I would like to ask you. I know you're young, but where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? What would you like to do that you have not done?
To be honest, I just I see myself continuing my work with United Sikhs and just helping assisting United Sikhs as a part of United Sikhs, increasing our reach across the community that we're currently serving, and just being able to help more people.
Okay.
Do you guys also get people registered to vote and so forth?
Yes.
Is that
So
part
yes.
part
So
of what you do?
with the local elections coming up, we are currently trying people who don't know how to register to vote, assisting them in helping them register to vote, whether it's going to the local Sikh temples or going to like the mosque or like the mandirs. But we are trying to do our part to get the word out on how people could register to vote.
And how do you get the word out?
Well, it could just be like, handing out flyers or just going out and talking to people, stuff like that. Yeah.
So are we going to see any Sikh council people or state assembly folks or
I know in
senators?
I know in this election there are a couple of Sikh candidates. I'm not going to say if, like but they are currently running.
Good.
And so we'll see where it goes from there.
I heard that there's something special going on for tomorrow.
Yes, so tomorrow we have one of the mayoral candidates coming over to the Sikh temple in Richmond Hill, Andrew Yang, and he's going to interact with the local community there and just try to people can ask him questions, and at the same time just listen to the concerns that that community might have, and going forward, see if he is if he wins, great. If not, we also had Eric Adams come in and just so people know that these are our candidates, and this is what they bring to the table.
Oh, that's good work. That's
Yes.
very good work. 'Cause that's very important for the community to know what's going on and be informed. Glenn, what's going on over here in Southeast Queens? Can you tell us anything interesting?
Well,
There's always something interesting.
there's always something happening here in Southeast Queens. Well, I think that one of the things that we've been focusing on is public safety, and we've had some issues with the folks dealing with marijuana sales on the street, especially with marijuana being legalized. So I think that that's one of the issues that we're working out some things with the Queens District Attorney in terms of being able to administer a trespassing affidavit, which gives the police a little bit more clarity and a little bit more clout to be able to pull some people that are being disruptive off the street, that are smoking and drinking and carousing and preventing businesses from operating. So I think that that's something that that we certainly are looking towards. But I wanted to get back. Are there any particular Sikh festivals or Sikh events that are upcoming for in the year? Any major,
Yes, well, like the biggest event, the biggest, I would say, the day in Sikhism is called Vaisakhi, and it just recently passed in April. So one of the stories behind Vaisakhi is that is when the Khalsa was created. Now Khalsa is like you have Sikhs and then you have the Khalsa, which is basically baptized Sikhs, and the 10th Sikh guru, he created the Khalsa, and it's celebrated with like a lot of joy and festivities across the Sikh community across the world. And yeah, so that's I would say one of the biggest Sikh festivals, and it just recently passed in April.
Okay. Do Sikhs recognize the other holidays here in this country?
Yes, I mean, yeah.
Like
so
Christmas,
like,
Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Not Christmas, but you know, we have like there's some Memorial Days coming up this weekend, and you know, I'm very grateful for all the American servicemen and women who came before us, and you know, allowed. Because of their sacrifices, we are here to, you know, we are here and blessed to be able to have this conversation. So, you know, I'm as a Sikh man, as a Sikh American, I'm very grateful to all those servicemen and women who made the who sacrificed for us to have this freedom to be here.
You know, speaking about that, wasn't it recent that the military actually allowed turbans to be worn as part of their uniform?
Yes,
at some point in time, because it was not allowed at one point in time, right?
Yes. So up until recently, the U.S. military didn't allow Sikh service members to, you know, have their articles of faith, which is turban and beard, and you know, be on duty. But now, you know, because of civil suits that passed, and because of the ongoing struggle for more civil rights that the Sikh soldiers have been fighting for a very long time. Now that has changed, and we just recently have had a young Sikh man graduate from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point and is being commissioned as an officer. And we have, you know, we have a couple of service members in the United States military that are fully practicing Sikhs, and you know, they have their turban and their beard.
Let me ask another question.
Sure, go ahead, Glenn.
How many countries? How big does the United Sikhs want to be? I mean, you've got chapters all over the world now. How is it a goal or a wish to be in every country?
Yeah, our goal is to, you know, help as many people as we possibly can, because by helping others, we feel we're not only doing a great service to just us as individuals, like, you know, for our group, for our conscience, but also, you know, we're following the path that was set out by our gurus, which is, you know, helping the community. And in that process, we feel like, you know, we're doing good, and you know, it's better helping. It's better assisting to connect us to our own religion in our way, because we're following that path that talks about helping others.
Great.
Okay. Going back to job opportunities, do Sikhs? I don't see too many Sikhs as police officers or firefighters.
Well, no, there are some Sikh members who are serving as members of the police department. I'm not sure. I mean, there might be some Sikhs who are in the fire department. I'm not sure, but I personally know some Sikhs who are active duty, who are members of the NYPD.
Okay.
Recently, I believe like 2 years ago, there was a Sikh deputy in Texas, his name was Sandeep Dhaliwal, I think, and he was actually killed in the line of duty. This happened in Texas 2 years ago, so you know. Yeah.
Now, why I asked is because this country is based on equal opportunities, and all races, all nationalities, all religions need to be part of what makes up New York City. That way we have diversity. Because we have a big problem right now in this country with diversity and everybody being able to understand each other's cultures and beliefs and stuff. And when you don't have enough of one set of a group involved in the community, that makes them an outsider. So I was just very interested in to know what the demographics was as far as working in the police department, the fire department. I know you in hospitals as doctors and nurses and so forth and so forth. But one of the things that's very important is the police department and the fire department. So that's why I asked that question.
No, yes. So we do have Sikh members who are serving in the police force with their articles of faith, which is the turban and the beard. And, it's very great of New York City Police Department to allow, Sikh members to not only be practicing Sikhs, but also to be police officers, because I believe as a country, we're not the type of country that asks our members to choose between their religion and their country. We're greater than that. So that's one of the great parts about this country.
Are there any misconceptions that you think yet people have about the Sikh community? And if so, what is your organization trying to do to educate people to that effect?
I mean, yeah, a lot of times, especially after 9/11, people tended to confuse Sikhs with Islam, tended to confuse Sikhs with, not Islam, Muslims, and with Hindus. But, our organization, hopes that, through our work in the community where we get to interact with people who are not just Sikhs, but could be from all over the world, especially in New York City. They could be from, people from South America, people from Africa, people from, all over the world, China, Japan, and just to get people to get the word out that that these are who Sikhs are and these are what our values are, and we are a separate group, and we're a separate religion, and these are our values.
Just one question. When Sikhism again originates in India, the relationship between Hindus and Sikhs in India and in America, is that problematic? Is that something that you focus on in your group, in your organization? What's the history of it?
No. It's, Sikhism is a religion that is monotheistic and that it doesn't discriminate against anyone based on their caste or based on their ethnic background. And if you ever go to a Sikh temple, you might have a Hindu person having lunch or whatever, or langar, or so there's I personally don't.
So there are no tensions between the groups.
No, not that I know.
Now, what about sports? Are you, this is what I have to ask, because are you into sports and stuff like that? Baseball, basketball?
I mean, I like the way the Knicks are playing these days. But I don't see them making a deep run in the playoffs, but we do have the Nets. And, they seem like legit title contenders. And, they're still, even though it's a Brooklyn team and this is a Knicks town, I'm still, rooting for Brooklyn. And hopefully, they make a deep playoff run.
No, I would like to see some Sikhs involvement in sports,
Oh yeah, hopefully in the future, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, because that makes everything diverse. I believe in diversity.
Yes,
stuff like that. I would like to say you've been listening to Our World, Our Power. Please do not forget to check us out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, our Roku channel, and don't forget to also follow us on Instagram and YouTube, Our World.
And Apple TV.
Oh, and Apple TV, that's right. You keep forgetting about the big Apple TV. Okay, you've been listening to Lady Pauline and Mr. Glenn Greenwich, our Honorable Mayor of Southern Boulevard, and I'll thank you to our guest co-host, Mr. Robert Gum, and our guest,
Inderjeet Singh. Thank you so much
for being on our show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's been great. And how can people reach you?
Well, you could just, our website is unitedsikhs.org, and we have our email there and we have our number there. So if you ever want to reach United Sikhs, and if any way we could help you, just go to unitedsikhs.org.
Okay. Mr. Robert Gum, is there any way that your listeners...
If you write in Robert Gum, published reporter, I'm actually syndicated. I mentioned good friend Sheikh Musa Muslim Community Report. But you can see my columns, and again, I'm very proud that I've written about Glenn, and actually one of the great community activists in this area, that Robin E. Okay. So I think it was one of my last columns. Again, if you Google my name, Robert Column, you can see my columns, and I'm going to be doing some columns. Actually, Pauline gives me some really great input who might find interesting, including Carol Williams.
Yes.
And hopefully down the road, Pauline herself. I've already done Glenn. So anyway, great. Continues to be an honor to be on the show.
Yes. Glenn, how can people reach you?
They can reach me at Sutphen Boulevard Business Improvement District, 718-291-2110.
And you can reach Lady Pauline at 646-340-7271. Don't forget to listen to us, again, as I said, every Saturday from 4 to 5 here on Our World, Hour of Power. Take care and have a good week, everybody. Catch you next week.
Happy birthday.